Ladies and gentlemen, welcome up for at home. Joining us here on FEI YouTube, $36,500, and this is the Murieta Inn, Spa, and Restaurant Speed Competition this evening. A field of 33 horse and rider combinations. The excitement's going to start building as those 33, speed is the name of the game for them tonight as they have one round and one round only. Olaf Peterson Jr. from Germany, he's designed this beautiful course. 6:30, in fact, we're just 15 minutes away before that first horse on course. But he designed all of the 12, well, numbered 1 through 12 jumping efforts, total of 14 obstacles in total, 2 combinations on course. And I think it's going to be a great course. We're actually going to bring Olaf Jr. in right now because we're going to have a little talk about this course. As fence number 1, we're going to start with an oxer. Now, actually, you know what? Let's back up. Last night, we had a great event. We had right around 53 starters. The first half, we only had 1 clear. Does that, as a course designer, does that concern you a little bit?
No, not at all. I think it was just that the good ones were in the middle of the field in the second half, and I think it was we saw a great class, nice jump off also, well prepared for the World Cup qualifier tomorrow.
Perfect. Now tonight, as a course designer, last night obviously it was an Article 238.2.2, which meant a jump off is possible in the event of equality of faults. Tied for the lead. Tonight, speed is the name of the game. How, as a course designer, do you change your focus that way?
Well, first of all, we have basically the second horses today. I don't think we see horses tonight that we will see tomorrow in the World Cup qualifier. Still, we have a good field of good riders, of upcoming young riders, of young horses with experienced riders, some very fast horses. Gary Rufer, for example, one of my favorites. She's here from Sacramento and she had a very good year. And I think she has a good chance to win this class.
So certainly a hometown favorite we do have in the field. Let's talk about this course. Fence number 1, 2, and 3, to me, those are nice ways to invite the horses on course. And then from fence 3 to 4, it's a 4-stride. And then I think that's where there are some possibilities of inside turns.
No, I think disagree with you a little bit. 1 to 2 is normal, then already it's a rollback. So you can decide on how short you do that way. After that, we have a 4-stride distance already, which is a little bit forward to a big oxer. And then, as you said, it's next vertical. And then you can do an inside turn to a skinny vertical. But if you take the inside turn, then you have a little more difficult way to the following double combination in orange and white. This combination is also special because it has a Liverpool under element A.
Okay, so, and why did you put Liverpool under the A element, possibly not the B element?
B would be more difficult because the horses see it later. And I wanted to try for this group of second but good horses, I want to try the A element.
Okay, after that combination, fence number 8, in my opinion, comes up fairly quickly. It's the lovely pink standards on fence number 8. Why there?
Well, it's not a reason. It's just another color next to all the blue jumps. I liked it here as a vertical. After that, we go to the big Longines oxer. It's a kind of an S line, so that means you need very accurate riding if you want to go from middle to middle of the next jump.
Okay, so 9 would come across that diagonal, as you mentioned, from 8 to 9 to 10. It's a little bit of an S. Fence number 10 jumping straight into where the in-gate is and the Jumbotron as well. You think that could cause any problems? I guess maybe not with that speed.
I don't think so. It's not that big of an oxer. It doesn't have that much spread. It's just testing the rideability, this S line.
And then 11 to 12, they come straight down that line. The way I walked it, they have an option of possibly leaving a stride out.
I think it's 2 strides, that's normal. 2 strides in the combination in the Longines, and then it's normal 5 strides for me.
Yeah, because 11AB, that's the vertical 2-stride oxer combination, and then from 11B to 12, that'll be the final run on the way home. Well, you know what, stick around. Once again, 6:30, that is the start time, and we have a field of 33. It's going to be a fast field. How many clears do you think?
I think the time always is a they try to ride fast, so that causes also some faults. I think 6 or 7 clear rounds.
So 6 or 7, speed is the name of the game tonight. $36,500 Murieta Inn, Spa, and Restaurant speed competition tonight in beautiful Rancho Murieta, California, just on the outskirts of Sacramento. We do have the California Cowgirls. They will be presenting the colors tonight of the host nation of the United States, and also Ryan and Poli, she will be singing the national anthem. So stick around, grab whatever drink you want, possibly another chocolate milk, and we'll see you at 6:30.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we'd ask you to please all rise. And gentlemen, remove your caps as we have the honor and the presentation of colors. So, ladies and gentlemen, please rise. And joining us with the presentation of our colors this evening, let's welcome the California Cowgirls. It's also with great pleasure to introduce my friend and your friend, if you know her. She's been a young horsewoman in Northern California her entire life, and coming out to the red carpet, we have a very special guest joining us from Wilton, California, our good friend Ryan Poli, to sing tonight's national anthem as our California Cowgirls line up. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Ryan Poli to the stage. Well, thank you, Ryan Poli, and of course the California Cowgirls. Let's give them one more round of applause for joining us here at Rancho Murieta. We've got many of our riders with multiple horses to see here tonight for the $36,500 Murieta in Spa Restaurant Speed class. That's right, we call it the Dash for cash, if you will. In Northern California, they're going to try to make their way around the arena as quickly as they can, trying to leave all the sticks up. Whoever can do that at the end of our 29 starters will be the winner. With multiple horses for the likes of Jennifer Gates, Richard Spooner, Eduardo Meneses, Carrie Roofer, who's been hot as of late, a defending champion from last year, Mandy Porter, in the field today with a new horse. Carrion Boyce Lockhart, Sean Cassidy, all have multiple horses to see in our speed class tonight.
Well, here's our starting list. I'm joined with Susan Artez here up in the announcer's booth. $36,000, 500 Murieta in Spa and Restaurant Speed competition tonight. And in fact, we have 29 horse rider combinations. The original starting order I had 33. Had a couple scratches.
Hi, Davin.
And how are you? How was your day?
My day was great.
That is good. I think, you know what, we are in for an exciting event tonight. I got to walk the course. I saw you walking the course as well. Saw a lot of riders walking the course and seeing where possibly some inside turns could be or different options they can take as we're having a look at this wonderful starting order list, this start list. Now, in a one-round event, you want to go fast, you want to go clear. That's pretty much the basic gist of it.
Well, right, and there are a few options here in order to make a couple of inside turns, but I think it's really going to come down to with the 29 in the class. I think it's going to be tidy clear, but I don't think crazy fast. I mean, he set a really nice course tonight, but the options were very wide. I think for meter 45, so I think it'll be challenging.
Yes, and you are correct on that. Walking, and some of them are fairly wide, like fence number 10. That's a meter 55 in width, and that's the one that's going straight towards the in-gate. We're going to start with Jennifer Gates and Pumped Up Kicks. This horse owned by Evergate Stables. Yeah, and this is a 15-year-old Grey Gelding. And there's fence number 1. So nicely over fence number 1. I really do like this horse, really do like this rider as well.
All right, so she opted for 8 strides there, and it looks to me like she's treating this as a schooling round, if I had to guess. She's being quite conservative, not looking like she's necessarily looking to win the class tonight. This horse has not been in this ring this week.
And she did have a really good showing last night as well, Jennifer Gates.
Right, on her other horse,
yes.
Alex, and so I think she's giving this horse a nice positive ride.
So we come to the first of the 2 combinations. There's that Liverpool Olaf Peterson Jr. talked about at the A element. This one, and fence 8 comes up fairly quickly as we make this S right across the diagonal.
Right, and I actually walked that in a 7, but she did the 7 so easily, and she's being conservative. I now am rethinking that and thinking that if you are trying to win this class, that there's probably a 6 there on a big move.
Now here's the second of the combinations, the Longines combination, 11A and 11B, nicely over top of that.
She's doing a quiet 6 there. It walked in about 5.5 strides, so I think stepping up at 5 will many people do, especially the horses and riders that are not planning on doing the qualifiers more and sticking with this meter 45, and this is their big class of the week. I think they'll step up and do that in 5 strides.
So she was clear with a time of 70.07 seconds. That was her first entry. Jennifer Gates, riding for the USA, the host nation, aboard Pumped Up Kicks. Well, our next horse also owned by Evergate Stables, but this rider rides for Egypt, Nile Nazar, aboard Lutz. And Lutz, a 9-year-old chestnut gelding. This horse is a Westphalian by breeding, sired by Lordanos. Now, Nile Nazar, well, last night, if you joined us on FEI YouTube, Nile Nazar and Lucifer 5, they won last night out of a field of 8 in the jump-off. So he's not allergic to speed.
No, and I do think that Nile will be very tidy here. I'll be interested to see if he makes an inside turn from 5 to 6 to the skinny. 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, so there's the 7 that I walked there. This is quite handy here. Oh, maybe too handy. Looked like he turned tight enough and didn't quite get the horse's eye on that soon enough. It is a narrow jump. It's not as wide as the others.
Well, unfortunately, that's going to be 4 faults for Nile Nazar with that refusal there at fence number 3.
When I watched other people walking that turn, it did look like they were walking quite tight. But we'll see how the rest of the class goes. It's easy enough for the horse to get their eye on the long jump at number 8 instead of focusing on
So there was fence number 10, that 1 meter 55 width Oxer. Definitely not his plan through there.
All right, so
And he's going to
to
pull up and retire.
Something about these combinations in this ring, especially the Longines, how horses really back up in there, and sometimes the combinations seem longer than they are.
Here's our next show, number 3, 0-2 is welcome Carl Cook to the rematch. He's Sacramento City, California, America, won the 60 century. This is Temple. Then was 14-year-old signature out of that horse. So his World Cup horse just a few years ago, after Carl Cook was in the World Cup finals twice now. Past North American junior young rider, gold medalist. Here's Carl Cook.
And here we've got Carl Cook on Temla.
Well, hopefully that changed. Oh, that did change that just a little bit. We just had a little mic change here.
Right, we sort of, swapped
clothing
here for a moment.
Okay, so Carl Cook and Temla, the third to go. Nile Nazar, and he did tip his hat there. They do have him down as eliminated. And so Nile Nazar, unfortunately, just some tough luck there. But Carl Cook and Temla.
All right, and he's looking very aggressive.
And this is a nice 14-year-old chestnut mare. As you mentioned last night, you do like chestnut mares just because they do have a little more fire. He did that inside turn. I was wondering if anybody would do that inside turn from 5 to 6. Did not pay off.
Well, the horse was, got a little sticky there.
Mm-hmm. And fence number 6, so that's a skinny vertical as well. So it doesn't give them a lot of time to look at it.
I do like the inside turn there, and he left a step out there.
This mare does eat up the ground very well.
Well, he's going for it, and I appreciate that. There's the 5 up the last line. This horse has a big, big step.
And that is just too bad. Well, unfortunately, 2 fences coming down, and that will be 8 faults for Carl Cook and Temla, and their time 55.49 seconds. That's going to put them into second place, but you know what? The Clear's still in first place.
All right, and that's a good track. I mean, he was definitely on the track to win, and I'm glad that he kind of did a couple of experiments to see what it would work.
So in the lead right now, Jennifer Gates and Pumped Up Kicks. Carl Cook and Temla move into second place.
All right, and now we've got Spooner, the master of faster, on his way in. I know this horse is only an 8-year-old, but knowing Richard, I think he's going to go ahead and make an effort to certainly be within the top 5.
So they do have the master of faster here, Richard Spooner, aboard Love. And Love, an 8-year-old race stallion.
It's funny, I did not realize this horse is a stallion. He doesn't look as bulky as they normally are.
And I've got to say, Richard has done a great job with this horse. I remember the first time I saw Richard showing this horse in the lower division when he first got this horse, and they've come together so naturally now.
Well, yeah, it does take a little time to get things together. Trying to be a bit louder here. All right, that was well done. It's a shame he had jumped 3 down. And the light does get darker on that side of the ring where the Liverpool is jumping into that double.
There's fence number 9 across the diagonal. Fence number 10 right there, straight at the in-gate.
Right, straight at the in-gate and the Jumbotron, which the horses sometimes see themselves. But this horse doesn't back off much.
So he's got 8 faults coming home. And he did the 5 there as well, to fence number 12.
All right, so overall, quite a good ride.
And a nice quick time, 57.18 seconds, 8 jumping faults. And, well, speed competition, that is where you need to roll the dice a little bit.
Well, I guess our clothing switch maybe worked a little bit because now he's a little quieter, I'm a little louder, and there's maybe.
Well, from one grade to the next, and this is H5. Jamasina Vanden Dale. This is a horse ridden by the rider from Brazil, Brazilian Olympian Eduardo Meneses.
I'm glad you're the one pronouncing that.
I do have to say there are sometimes horses' names, and the word panic can't even flash enough. So on to fence number 2, and Eduardo Meneses, the Brazilian Olympian. There's a little bit wider turn to fence number 3, but some people have had that problem.
Well, I think it's probably smart not to be too tidy back to that.
Okay, so there's 5. He does the outside turn coming back to fence number 6. You saw Carl do the inside, and it didn't pay off for him. That is a skinny vertical. Come up to the Liverpool, that first combination.
This horse is such a pretty jumper.
Super jumper.
Yeah, that 7's getting quiet there.
Okay, there's fence number 8. So just this last combination, and then
And we're clear thus far.
the 5 or the 6, it's his choice.
The 5
yeah.
for this horse for sure, yeah. The 6 is, I think, very short unless your horse really doesn't cross into the double very well.
Yeah. Well, you look at that, 61.77 seconds, not the fastest time we've seen. The fastest of the clears, however, puts him in a first place. Eduardo Meneses from Brazil. Jennifer Gates moves into second with that clear round as well, 70.07 seconds. But Brazilian Olympian, he is such a good rider. Eduardo Meneses now takes over first place.
He was a little bit conservative with his track, right? He took some of the conservative options, but like I said, I think being tidy and clear is really what's going to take this class, as they usually do in this sort of environment. But here's Carrie. Carrie's fast even if she does go around a jump, so I'm interested to see whether she takes the inside turn to the skinny, which I expect she will.
Well, riding for the host nation of the USA, Carrie Roofer from right here in Sacramento, so she is one of our local riders. Rides the horse owned by Morningstar Sport Horses, and this is a 9-year-old gelding, Mai Tai. Yeah, and this was Westphalian sired by Ustinov. And you're right, Carrie Roofer always... She always goes for it.
She's been doing so well, and she's so confident now. You get a few wins under your belt like that, and now it's second nature to her to go fast.
And you're right, 'cause she won the Grand Prix, the Welcome Week. That was this past Saturday.
And that's a nice 7.
So, and as a rider, that really, especially, she's an amateur rider with some nice wins on your belt in 2018. That really has to buoy up your confidence.
Well, and on several different horses, and so that really, she knows her horses, they know her. Here's the inside turn, and very nicely done.
Very nice. This horse and Carrie and Mai Tai, they meld very well together. They seem like such a good combination.
And there's 6 strides to the vertical. I didn't trust that when I walked it, but definitely was there. Beautiful. And then you have to put a little shape in this 6 here.
Very nicely done.
She's really on it.
So she just has 3 jumping efforts remaining. That clear score right now at 61.77. Can she do it?
There's the 5.
Oh, yeah.
Super. Hard rub there, but there you go.
Well, that smile says it all right
really
there.
Well
Carrie Roofer for the host nation USA. Mai Tai, what a great combination. And they move straight to the top of that podium, 55.62 seconds as they take over first place. Last night we mentioned not much of a crowd. Tonight, these stands, they're not as full as they're going to be tomorrow night for the Longines FEI World Cup jumping Sacramento, but they are pretty full.
Yes, and I think that this is a good taste for tomorrow night. So people that come tonight will come tomorrow night and bring their friends, right?
Yes, because this is really a super event. We'll continue on with this speed. Time to beat 55.62 seconds, with Carrie Roofer being 6 seconds faster than Eduardo Meneses. But Tiffany Sullivan, she's up next. We're going to see what she has to say about that aboard Christian Gray.
All right, now we know Tiffany likes big horses, and we know that this horse is very scopy. You know, it's can leave strides out without even making an effort, but it's not the fastest horse. So she knows that going into this class. So she's going to try to make tight turns and trust his scope to get her out. Yeah, he just lopes that for her.
He's really a big horse.
Yeah,
He's a lovely
let's
horse.
be brave and try it. Come
Oh,
on.
yeah,
Come
perfect.
on, keep kicking. There we go.
Ooh.
Oh, see, I love that. Oh, he was so clever in front there.
And he seems very responsive to her leg.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken a while. This partnership has been together for long enough, and it has taken quite a long time for them to develop.
But in develop, it certainly has. She comes down to fence number 10, easily
Super.
over that. Big, tall, wide oxer. Again, we see that score of 0. She's not going to move into first place.
Oh, but he really loves her. Look how easily he gets down the 5
Oh,
there.
yeah, wow.
Wow, good job. Really well done.
Great job, Tiffany Sullivan and Christian Gray. Beautiful ride as always. That's going to put them into third place. Their time 62.45 seconds.
You know, and her reins do get, look how happy she is. Her reins do get a little bit long on this horse, but that can happen with a horse that it's long. It's got a bit of a long neck, and she's little, so she's trying to follow him in the air and maybe opens her fingers a little bit in order to let the horse use his body in the air, and then she lands and doesn't have time to shorten. So she's sort of figured out a way of managing him regardless.
And that's a nice thing to see, because obviously she's done a lot of homework, because as her reins get a little bit longer, because as you mentioned, the horse is so long, she still has the rideability with him.
Right. And it used to be harder for her in an indoor ring to be able to keep that horse going in the engine, so I think she's really made a lot of progress with him.
Well, Soren Z is our next horse. Another gray horse, a 10-year-old stallion. Zangashiata, Mandy Porter, the rider for the United States. Yeah, and this horse owned by Lorna Investments. And this is Zangashiata, sired by Sandro Boy. We hear that sound of the tone, so Mandy Porter, Soren Z, they will head down to that first fence.
So he's giving him a little tour of the arena. And as I said, the lighting here, it's good lighting, but it's bright in some places and darker in some places. And there's the 7. A little bit of a hard rub there, but she got away with it.
So they'll turn back to fence number 3. Just nicely done.
He's jumping well.
Oh.
I said that too soon. Yeah, I think she ended up just too far out with her track. So I think she's
Okay, that's...
going to save him for another night when she feels like
Yeah.
he's a little bit more prepared. She hasn't known this horse very long at all. Just
No.
I think maybe a week or 2.
Yeah, this is a fairly new ride for Mandy. And, you know, as they build that relationship together, just that little love tap off the ground there.
A little of that. Yeah, a little encouragement just so he leaves the ground in a confident manner.
No. Actually, I guess, you know what, she did not retire.
No, she didn't. I think she was actually just fixing her helmet a little bit.
That's always that tough thing from our vantage point, because you see we're looking, as we're obviously we're looking at a monitor, and you see them do that, and the crowd starts to clap. And
Right, we can't tell whether she's like fixing her helmet or aiming at the FEI jury to tip her hat. So we were mistaken there.
Good for her.
Now he's coming back and looking just fine.
He certainly looks like he has the jump. He's got the power. It's just obviously, as we were talking about, the relationship needs to have a little bit more time.
Right, and I think out of that short turn, you jump that vertical, and they're not really expecting another jump coming up quite so quickly in that 4 stride.
Yeah. Well, so Mandy Porter and Soren Z, 87.57 seconds. They will exceed our time allowed of 72 seconds. So 8 jumping faults on course. 1 for the 4 faults for the rail, 4 faults for that circle or the refusal, and 4 time faults also added on top of that. You know, it's really interesting. Our next rider, you mentioned last night, her favorite color is hot pink.
Right, so she's got a lot of things that are in pink.
And if you can see closely, she has her glasses also have pink frames on.
Her glasses do, and the piping on her hunt coat, on her collar, is also pink.
That's amazing. Here's Carrie Ann Boyce Lockhart from Eugene, Oregon, and her 13-year-old gelding Pharaoh DC. And they've been together for quite a while. Oh, shoot.
Yeah, I think she was a little bit deep there in the 7, and he needs a little bit more space off the ground than she was able to give him there. He got his eye on number 8 there for a minute, too.
Well, so she probably will like fence number 8 since it is pink.
Right. She might gravitate toward that.
Okay, so she does the outside turn coming back to fence number 6, just to give herself a little more room.
She's looking like she might want 8 strides here. Yeah, so there's the 8.
Oh. Not much of a hit on that one, but
yeah, no, I like this horse though. I mean, he's always a trier. You know, he's scopy. His technique gets him into a little bit of trouble sometimes because he can't quite get out of the way of the front rail sometimes, but he always tries.
okay, so just that last combination, and then either the 5 or the 6. She has 8 faults so far coming home. And does the 5.
Yeah, I kind of again just kind of went past it a little bit.
Well, so 12 jumping faults, 67.47 seconds. Currently, that puts them into 7th place with a field of 29 that are joining us. The Murieta Inn, Spa, and Restaurant. $36,500 speed competition tonight. And again, join us tomorrow night as the Longines FEI, the World Cup Jumping Sacramento. And we will be up here again in the booth tomorrow night. Jennifer Gates back in the ring. Now, not a lot of horses in between her first one and her second.
Right, she was first in the order, and now I think she's, what is this? There was a scratch in the orders.
So
I think she's
10th.
10. Yeah, that's 9 horses in between to be able to switch gears, and since it's just speed rounds, it does go quite quickly.
And I know that's obviously within the rules scope. It's just as a rider with the speed rounds, do you feel rushed or whatever? Or
Yeah, I think you can, yes, but I'm sure she's got one of her staff maybe warming the horse up a little bit on the flat, so all she has to do is get on and start to jump. So
Jennifer Gates and Alex, we talked. This is the horse that she was on last night, a 14-year-old gelding, horse owned by Evergate Stables.
Horse is so handy. Look at that. That was beautifully done. Oh, a little deep in the 7, but he doesn't even mind that. Lovely 6. And this horse is faster than he looks across the ground.
Well, time to beat 55.62 seconds. She's coming in clear to fence number 10. Okay. She's probably not going to move into first place.
No, but very well done.
Nice ride.
She's really coming along in her riding, I feel.
Wow. That puts her in a second place, 58.27 seconds. She breaks that 60-second mark. The United States right now in first and in second. First with Carrie Roofer, second with Jennifer Gates, a young rider, and what a great young rider as well.
And she's gotten a lot of experience traveling and competing a lot, and I think she's really starting to come into her own now.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. It's always great to see. Sometimes you don't see some of these riders for months or half a year, and when you see them and they've improved so much, and Jennifer Gates is just such a solid rider now.
Right. Her horses are starting to trust her more, and she's just really developed.
Well, Durango VDL, that is this 10-year-old gray stallion. A number of gray horses in the field. Sean Cassidy rides for High Point Farm of Scottsdale, Arizona. A young 24-year-old professional rider here, and he's a solid hand on a horse.
Yeah, very pretty rider. And I think he will go for it because he showed this horse last night and tonight. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty sure he will not be doing it in the World Cup qualifier tomorrow at meter 60. So I think he's going to try to give this his best shot of winning.
So there's the 4 right there.
Such a stylish jumper.
Ooh, nice inside turn.
And he left a step out there where most people did 8. He did 7. Here she should see the 6 easily, yeah.
And he even jumped fence 7B at an angle to make the turn to 8 easier.
Here's 5. Well, that's the track for 5. Yeah, and he got it done.
Okay, so he is on track now. I think he could threaten Carrie Roofer. We're going to see. Oh, no.
It's going to be close. No, he's not going to catch her.
Oh, wow. What a nice ride, though.
Really nicely done.
So 57.39 seconds, and you see Durango VDL just having a little play after that finish line. Gotta love that, because he was like, I was awesome. Did you see me?
Yeah, I mean, I think he took chances, and he did a good job, and I think Carrie was just a little bit faster in her gallop in a few places, and maybe in the air.
Well, 57.39 seconds, clear round. Sean Cassidy in the second. Time to beat, however, still 55.62 seconds. Just shows how fast Carrie Rufer and Mai Tai certainly were on the field.
Well, if anyone likes to go fast, it's our next competitor coming in.
That is very, very true. So Sean Cassidy just having a little talk there about his round. As he's done, walking into the ring is Steelby. This horse owned by Kathleen Waldorf. Well, the rider for the U.S., Rich Fellers. And this is a 10-year-old mare.
Rich just celebrated his birthday a couple of days ago. Rich is always a crowd favorite.
Well, I kind of think if one person can challenge Carrie Rufer for first place, that definitely is this rider.
Well, and Rich doesn't even look like he's going fast. You know, he's so tidy with his track everywhere, and if he were sort of drawing a dot-to-dot puzzle, he would stay on the innermost dots on every turn. So even though sometimes he doesn't look as fast as the others, he is. Don't let him fool you. He's definitely gearing up. I can't imagine he's going to shoot for 6 here. Yeah.
Now, when you have fence number 1 down in a speed class, does that change your plan?
Depends if it's false converted or not, but this is not false converted, so I would think that, you know, now he needs to be a quick 4 faulter.
Because right now, 4 faults, we actually do not have any 4 faulters, and that would put him in 7th place.
Yeah, so I think at this point he needs to just give the horse a positive ride, but he's already in his mind calculated that he just isn't really going to be in the top 5. Might have had just a little bit too much steam heading to number 1.
And that is just too bad. That's always not that, you know, it's like, oh, the last fence is the best one to have down, but the first one's always it kind of takes the wind out of your sails a little bit.
Well, and it's a rampy oxer, as is the one that he just had down too. So it seems to be the horse seems to be measuring the square oxers well, and the rampy oxers not quite as well.
Well, still a quick time, 59.26 seconds, so he didn't let up the gas that much. But with 2 fences down, that first one, and unfortunately the 9th one as well. That'll be 8 jumping faults. And they are the 3rd fastest of the 8 faulters. That puts them into 9th place. Yeah, 9th place so far. With Carrie Rufer for the USA still in first. Sean Cassidy for the USA in second. Jennifer Gates in third. Eduardo Benases in fourth. Tiffany Sullivan in fifth. Jennifer Gates in sixth. So Jennifer Gates right now sitting in third and in sixth. But Carrie Rufer has the time to beat 55.62 seconds. Always a pleasure to watch this next rider, Georgina Bloomberg. And the source owned by Gotham Enterprise is Cessna. And a 9-year-old gray mare, Hanoverian by breeding.
Yeah, it's always nice to see Georgina trot in the ring because she's always so statuesque. You know, she's got a great look and she looks very positive. And Cessa's just a 9-year-old, so a little bit on the younger side. I mean, I think 9 is a good age for these classes. 8's a bit young, but still okay. So this person probably has a year of jumping some meter 45s, I would think.
It's interesting so far. We've out of the field that we've seen, this is our 13th horse rider combination. 7 of those have been grays.
Interesting. Very square turn there and 8 strides.
Georgina always gives her horses very, very nice rides.
There's the 6. Oh, this looks like a track for 5, but I think she's going to put the 6 in. I got a little worried there.
She comes down to that last combination.
She's pretty quick.
She is nice and quick.
It's a quick horse, and it's quick
Leading
in the air.
time 55.62. It's going to be close. Oh!
Wow.
Georgina Bloomberg and Cessna 57.01 seconds clear as well. So all 14 jumping efforts remain in the cups. She's happy with that. That puts her in a second place. But still that leading time, 55.62. But great ride as always, Georgina Bloomberg and
Yeah, very
Cessna.
smooth too, huh?
She's just a pleasure to watch ride because she is always very, very smooth. And it's great to have that rider joining us here in Rancho Murieta, as she is located, her home base is on the East Coast. Well, talking about another rider joining us here in California, Teogan and Calora. This rider horse from Texas rides for the USA.
Right, and as I said last night, these boys are visiting us through the entire rest of our indoor circuit here. Well, it's not all indoors. I guess Coachella in November is outdoors, but the rest of the circuit out here with our World Cup qualifiers, and then they'll go to Florida at the beginning of next year. So I'm not really that familiar with watching him as a rider or his horses, but so far from what I've seen this week, I'm quite impressed.
Exactly. 28-year-old rider here for the USA.
All right, so he opted to lead a step out to number 2, and I don't think it paid off. And I don't really love that 6 because I think it makes it a little bit harder to turn back and have a careful horse to the vertical number 3. So,
and he did defense number 3. He looked like he was intending on making quite a drastic cut rollback. Just his path off of fence number 2 from this angle up here.
Right. But now he's kind of being a little bit more conservative, having had a jump down, and there's no reason to take a chance at this point unless you're trying to practice and teach a horse some of these inside tracks and turns. You can still be a little bit more conservative.
Well, right now, with 4 faults, if he ended up with 4 faults, that would put him into 8th place. That's still good positioning here in our $36,500 Murieta in Spa and Restaurant in this speed class tonight.
Oh, that was a bit late. And that's the other thing, when you're in these speed classes and sometimes you're landing and turning, it looked like he jumped out at B and the horse was maybe thinking he had to land and turn. So he shifted right, or he looked right just a little bit and cut down a little bit early there.
Well, so 8 jumping faults for Teogan, and the time 62.76 seconds. And that puts them into 11th place. Well, Kerry Roofer looking right now untouchable, but there is still quite the list of entries remaining. And here's Clochard. And this horse, the entry of Neil Jones Equestrian. Carly Anthony, the rider, originally from the state of Washington. And this is a 10-year-old stallion. Carly Anthony, as we mentioned last night, second generation professional rider.
Right. Her mother is also a good professional rider who's represented the U.S. on numerous Nations Cup teams. And so riding is very natural for her. That was quite tight.
That was a very tighty turn.
Ooh, lucky rub.
Okay. Sometimes that's what you need as well. You need some luck.
And I think this is a very fast horse. She didn't get a huge reaction after the first rub, and she's had a couple of, now she's had another rub. So sometimes a speed horse doesn't clear a jump by a whole lot.
I guess you probably don't want them to spend too much time in the air.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be quick, you can't be, having a tea party up there in the air. So, so far so good. I think she's ahead at this point.
I think you are right. It's going to be right down to the wire. 55.62. I think she's got it. Oh, maybe.
Not quite.
Oh!
Did she?
What a run into second place. Just wow. 56.34 seconds. Clear round as well into second place. These times they're so close.
And that was really beautifully done. I think she should be very happy with that. Not much else she could do to be faster, I don't think.
When we start looking at our top 3, top 4 times, 55.62 leads the field, 56.34 just put it in second, 57.01 in third, 57.39 in fourth. Wow, they are really, really close. Well, a young rider here, and this is Carlos Hank Guerrero aboard H5 Quantador, riding for Mexico aboard the 10-year-old Gray Gelding.
He's very color coordinated.
And I do have to say, color coordinated, yes. Very tall.
Very tall, and color coordinated.
Yes, that's a good thing.
Do you remember Underoos? Because just bringing that up.
And he did a phenomenal job last night.
Oh, look at that. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. So I think that was just taking a little bit too much of a chance. It's a narrow jump, and I really think that early on in the course, the horse is really not sure what to expect, you know?
Well, especially as they make that turn back from fence number 2. Fence number 8's right there.
Right, it's just distracting. I think it's better. I mean, if you've got a seasoned horse and a seasoned rider, it's fine, but I think this rider himself, it doesn't have tons and tons of, I mean, he has a lot of mileage, but he's still quite young.
Yes.
So I think that it was just a little bit too aggressive. But that's how you learn.
Well, so that refusal had to be 4 faults.
Whee!
Nicely over fence.
Bit of a
number
bit
9.
long there.
This horse has a ton of scope. And for how young this rider is, he does ride very, very well.
And he's getting a lot of good mileage now, and I think you're going to see a lot of him in the future.
There's the 5.
Yeah, nicely done. That's a shame.
Well, that is too bad. That refusal at fence number 3 just coming around. Horse didn't quite get locked on to fence number 3. 4 faults for the refusal. Well, we're going to add on 1 time fault. Their time 72.49 seconds for a total of 5. And so Carlos Henk, Bureau, and H5 Quantador move into 9th place. And Coral Reef Balofino is our next horse. This horse owned by Coral Reef Ranch of Rancho Santa Fe, California. The rider for the U.S., Nick Geegan.
Right, and this is Nick has taken over these rides previously from Mandy Porter, and before that Vincent Karash. And you know, this horse is 19 years old and still jumping in top form. Obviously, he's a little bit aging out of the meter 60 classes, so he's opting to do these a little bit smaller classes still at meter 45. But this is a great opportunity for Nick to be able to jump a horse of this quality and build his career on that.
Well, this is just a you look at this horse's coat and the muscle, a beautiful 19-year-old stallion.
Yeah, I mean, he's seen everything, done everything, and it's a great horse for Nick to really be able to jump some bigger classes on and be competitive. It's twisting a bit here, more than I'd like to see. I would think for an older horse that might have a little bit of a backache in the morning, like I would if I,
yes,
was playing limbo the night before.
Oh, well, unfortunately, 7A is down. 7B is down as well. We quickly clock up to 8 faults there.
But 19 is getting up there for a horse to jump at this level. I mean, he's still certainly got the scope and the power, but he may not end up being ultimately as competitive as younger horses.
Well, it looks like we have a...
we're being buzzed by a pigeon.
We have a pigeon up here, which is interesting. It's an open-sided indoor arena, as is typical in California, which is normal. The weather's always perfect here. 63.03 seconds, but it was interesting having that bird fly by.
Yeah, it kind of like whizzed right by us. We're like, wait, what the hell?
So 8 jumping faults for Nick Geegan and Coral Reef Balofino. One interesting note on Nick Geegan, he's expecting his first child in a couple weeks.
That's right. That's right.
So I think that is awesome. Congratulations for that. I think that's going to be certainly just an amazing thing. So Nick Geegan moves right now just out of our top placings as moving into 4th place. And Carol Wrights, the rider and owner of Conejito, 16-year-old Gray Gelding.
Another one of our aged out. Well, not aged out. I should say aged in. It's like cheese or wine, right?
Yeah. Well, because if you look, I mean, Flexible showed in the Grand Prix till,
it's nice to see that.
I think, to me, that just shows really good horse management and taking care of them.
Right, and some luck.
Well, and some luck, yes.
And again, he's seen an awful lot of tracks in his day, so not much surprises him.
He's a nice, solid horse.
She's opting to go around.
Well, because right now, in 8th place, and that is the slowest of the clears, and that's Jennifer Gates with a time of 70.07 seconds. So she, still with that clear round, can get into some good placing right now.
Right, and I think that's smart. She knows, that he's not really going to be the one to outrun the younger horses and riders. So I think this is smart for her to have a good, careful round and try to get a piece of the action.
Well, and it's tough to, I got to say, Mai Tai and Carrie Rufer, They are deadly at speed. Jump offs at speed classes, they are so fast.
Yeah, well done,
That was
Carol.
a
really,
beautiful
really well
ride.
done.
So 61.44 seconds. Clear round as well, putting them into 6th place. So good positioning. Carrie Roofer still in 1st place. Carly Anthony in 2nd. 3rd, Georgina Bloomberg. 4th is Sean Cassidy. And 5th, Jennifer Gates. 6th right now. And that's our rider right there from Northern California just leaving the ring. And that is Conejito and Carol Wright. Well, 13-year-old base stallion here, Arthosar, and the master of faster, Richard Spooner.
All right, so we know Richard's probably going to make a good effort here. I'm thinking with this horse's step, maybe he will be able, someone can certainly do 6 up the first line and still make a tidy rollback. So I'm expecting maybe him to try that, because that is one of the places where you can make up time that Kerry did not do.
And it looks like he is actually starting out with a fairly good head of steam. And he's accelerating on fence number 1. That's a good sign.
Yeah, no, he opted for the 7, which, it is smarter. You'd have to have a really big mover to do the 6. Oh, that was risky, but he got away with it.
That was very risky. He's at the 4. I think he's going to do that inside turn. I think he has to if he wants.
I mean, Richard doesn't really go around much. Oh, really
nicely
well
done.
All right.
7A,
And
7B.
here's going to be the 6. He's on the track for 6.
He's going to come across the diagonal. Fence number 9. He's
all right.
nice.
He did 8 there
Ooh.
instead of 9, so that was another place that it was a possibility to leave a step out. So he could be on the track
We're going to
to
see
be
how
the
this
winner.
goes.
And he was tidier here. Kerry hugged
Clear.
the rail when she got there. I think he's got
Clear
it
there.
Devin.
I think he has it too. It's going to come down to that finish line. Where is it? Yes,
Yep,
he
there we
does.
go.
Richard Spooner, Arthos R, takes over 1st place. The master of faster lives up to his nickname.
All right, so the places where he beat her, he did 8 from 8 to 9, which I thought was there, but you really had to make that commitment.
Arthos R gets his little treat on the way to the ring.
And then he really turned very tidy back to the last line, where most people are sort of hugging the rail and being a little conservative, knowing they're clear. They want to make sure they're clear to the end. So the only place I think that you could beat Richard at this point is to do 6 up the first line and follow the rest of his footprints.
Wow, 55.10 seconds. That holds down 1st place. Caroline and Lynn, this rider from Encinitas, California. Urgula Van Het Enhouse is an 11-year-old gray stallion. Well, as we were talking last night, okay, so she did a circle around fence number 5. Just didn't like the canter she had.
Well, I think she did that on purpose. Yeah, she didn't look like he was cross cantering a little bit here and there, and she just looked like she needed a little more time to get it together. Okay, she added one there, and I'm not sure that was part of the plan. I just think she got a little heavy-handed, maybe a little bit nervous there. He got a little bit strong there in the 6.
So you come with the skinny, she went to the outside on that. Already with just that one rail down, unfortunately at fence number 2. And
yeah, she had a big head of steam coming in there to the double. And now I think she just needs to take a deep breath and as I've said, Caroline's been out of the big ring for a while she was in law school, so I think that it's nice for her to have another opportunity to get in jumping these bigger classes. And you've got to have the right horse for this. And sometimes in life, you don't always have the right horses to be able to get in the ring. So.
Well, 16 jumping faults, 66 seconds right there on the nose. Caroline Lynn, and they will not break into our top 12 ribbon placings. That is just some tough luck. But as you mentioned, she spent how many years in law school, and that was her focus, that was her dedication. She's now done that, and now getting back in the tack. Carrie-Ann Boyce-Lockhart from Eugene, Oregon, back in the ring. And this Codius is an 11-year-old bay mare. Royal Dutch warm blood. Now Carrie-Ann Boyce-Lockhart had 12 faults on her first ride. So her second ride, and this is a fairly new mount for her. This rider from Eugene, Oregon.
All right. Oh, number one has come down more often than you'd expect. Oh. Okay.
Now the jumper really has to run a little bit because that rail's in the way.
Yeah, and they're good at that. These boys know. Most of them have been doing this ring crew jump thing for a while, so they know how to get things out of the way so it's not a danger to the horse or the rider. I think this is a relatively new mount for her, so I think it's going to take a little bit of time for them to get to know each other. He's definitely got the jump for it.
Well, and as mentioned, I mean, this is a new pairing up, or a fairly new pairing up for Carrie-Ann Boyce-Lockhart. And, you know, we'll give them some time. They're going to come together. She's a handy rider out of Eugene, Oregon. And you're right, this horse does look like it's got a nice jump.
And then she ended up doing the 6 there, which we've really only seen one other 6 in that line, and that was by Jennifer Gates.
That was Jennifer Gates,
first
yeah.
in the ring, and that looked more like a schooling round throw. I think it's actually easier to gallop up in 5 there than it is to try to fit the 6 in.
Well, because you really do have to, if you're going to do the 6, as you land off of 11B, you've really got to hit those brakes a little bit too much. And I think you possibly, because fence number 12 is a wide oxer.
Right, you want to give you need to give them a little bit more space off the ground there.
Because fence number 12, that's 1.55 in width, so it's a wide enough oxer that to take everything away. And Mariano Maggi rides for Sweden, Gintago VA, and that is his mount. Will continue on. USA in lead. Richard Spooner with a time of 55.10 seconds, nicely and solidly over fence number 1.
All right, and we know that he's a quick rider, and this horse again, it's opinionated, let's put it that way, and it does kick out over many of the jumps behind. So it caught up with him last night over the last jump,
yes.
I think, where it ended up kicking the rail out behind him. So, and, you know, and he's a quick rider, but this is all just a bit messy for me. It's a little frantic and a little messy. So my feeling is that sometimes he's going to have good rounds, and sometimes that messiness may catch up.
Well, and as you mentioned, this horse really does. Yeah, you can see right there, the horse really likes to kick out, and we saw that last night in that one oxer.
Right. I mean, the crowd likes watching it. It sounds like a bit of a stumble there, which made him a bit long there. But it is a careful horse, and he's a fast rider.
Well, clear so far. Just this combination. A is good. B is good. Oh, nicely done. Clear round, 59.98 seconds. Mariano Maggi and Gintago VA, and that will get them into 7th place. He's going to be happy with that.
I would think so.
Because and you're right, as you mentioned, it looks like the horse is a little opinionated. The horse kind of wants to take over at spots, or wants to say, hey, you know, I let me do this.
It's a bit of a wild ride.
Yes. Well, riding for Mexico, we're going to go to Enrique Gonzalez, H5 Zapsura. A 10-year-old dark bay gelding, Royal Dutch warm blood by breeding. And this horse sired by Zapatero. Well, Enrique Gonzalez, he can be fast when he wants to be, which is pretty much usually all the time. He's a very solid rider.
Right. I mean, and Enrique, you know, he's really got a long-term plan for each of his horses. So I feel like if you see him going fast, it's because he knows he can win on that horse. And if you see him going a bit slower, it's because he's trying to create a horse and make a horse into a horse that he can win on down the line. good 7 there.
Little tap at fence number 2.
Yeah, you really almost have to aim them at number 8 and then turn their heads away from it.
Yeah, that's.
So far, so good. But, you know, as soon as you see someone go around this jump, you know they're not going to be in contention for the first, second, or third, pretty much.
Well, especially because those times, first, second, and third, 55-10, 55-62, and 56-34. You have to take all those the one inside turn that's obvious. You have to leave strides out.
Right. But this horse certainly does look like it has a bright future in front of it, and it's very careful, and it's a very good jumper. And it's, how old did we say this one is?
This is a 10-year-old gelding.
Okay.
So still on the younger part.
Right.
Nicely still a nice time. And that's the one thing. Enrique Gonzalez always gives his horses such a nice ride. 62.02 seconds. And that's going to put them into 10th place. Well, 12th place, that is the first one that went here this evening in the Murieta Inn Spa and Restaurant Speed. And that is Jennifer Gates and Pumped Up Kicks as she holds down that 12th ribbon placing with a time of 70.07 seconds. Richard Spooner, the master of fast, are still in the lead. Wow, that was an amazing ride. That
it
Richard
was, and
Spooner
I
put
don't
in.
know. I mean, it's not going to be that easy to catch, although, you know, we've still got Sean Cassidy on another horse, and Kerry Roofer on another horse, and Eduardo, and we've got, you know, Willem Jen coming up, Casey Ahmed, so anything is possible.
Anything is possible. As we have 6 remaining here in our speed tonight, walking into the ring.
LJ.
And this is Laura Jane Tidball from Fort Langley, BC, rides for Canada, and Joyce Van Heike, Belgian warm-blood 9-year-old mare. And the first of 6 remaining.
So she's allowing her horse to take a look at that roll back to number 3.
Now, obviously, you see a lot of riders do that when there are those turns where they can focus, when the horse can focus on other fences. Does it help?
Well, I think sometimes you're allowing the horse to take a look at a track so it's familiar when they get there the second time, but also I think as a rider it helps because sometimes you think, oh shit, you know, shoot, this might be a little tighter than I had anticipated, so you might be a little bit more conservative, or you might think the turn looks just fine and go ahead and cut it tight.
And I know what you were trying to, because you were talking about the shiitake mushrooms over there.
Right, those mushrooms, yes.
Because they are very, very
They're
nice.
delicious, yeah.
Ooh, this horse looks like it actually has a lot of power.
Yeah, this is a good ride for her. Now, that was a nice rub. It was kind of rubbed the jump on the way up. But again, I think she's being a little conservative here.
So
such a nice hind end.
Super. Wow.
Yeah, it's a good type for her. There's lots of blood, meaning that it's a little on the hotter side, which for a speed horse you really want. Ooh, see how high his hind end was over that?
Now, is that harder to ride sometimes to stay on, or you just get used to that?
Well, I wish I knew, but yeah, no, I'm. It can be. It can be a little distracting. Really nicely done. Good for her.
What a nice ride. 63.32 seconds. That's going to put her into 12th place. That rider from Canada, Laura Jane Tidball and Joyce Van Heike. Also, she bumps Jennifer Gates on her first ride out of our top 12 ribbon placings. Richard Spooner still in first. Handful remaining. And Kasama Dubuisson Z is our next horse. First of 5, Casey Ament, the rider and owner for the United States. And this is a 9-year-old bay mare. The horse almost looks black in color. I know they do.
Yeah, I think it is. I think, which is unusual to have a black horse, and it's not a very tall horse either. I mean, Casey's other horses are much taller than this, so it actually, I think it would be interesting if we had the height of these horses. That would be something interesting to comment on. I think might have to look into that.
Now, what range actually is normally the typical?
I think it can be anywhere from 15.3 to 18 hands. And there's the 7. He's a little bit of an awkward jumper. That's all right, especially for a speed horse. Sometimes they do what they need to do to get out of the way.
There's 4, 5.
There's the 6. He skipped off the ground a little bit, so he looks. I can see why she went around. Looks like he fights just a little bit in the mouth. That's a mare. Sorry.
A is down.
She is a mare.
Yes.
Yes.
This is a beautiful 9-year-old mare. And with one fence down so far, and that was into that 7A. Oh, looks like that is down as well. We're going to be having 8 jumping faults as we make that final right-hand turn to home.
Yeah, so you can see the horse shaking her head as Casey tries to rate her and slow her down. Sometimes she really would rather be left alone, but that's not an option.
Yeah. Well, still a nice time at 60.98 seconds, but unfortunately 8 faults for Casey Amends, and she will not break into her top 12 ribbon placings. The Laura Jane Tidball from Canada in 12th position. The Stars and Stripes in first place, with Richard Spooner.
All right, so we've got Eduardo back.
Eduardo Meneses from Brazil back in the ring. This is a 9-year-old stallion, H5 Belou's Captain. This horse sired by Belobé de Rouet. And so let's have a look. Eduardo Meneses, he was clear on his first ride with a time of 61.77 seconds, and currently sitting in 9th place. We are fence number 1, second ride for Eduardo Meneses in the speed. He didn't pick up that much of a head of steam coming down of fence number 1, but it looks like this is a nice tight turn.
Yeah, he went a little wide at the beginning of that turn to 3, but then he cut it very tight. So I think sometimes you really can't underestimate him.
Jump really to the left-hand side of that, makes that turn easier.
Whoa.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, I mean, some people walk a number there. Oh, jeez. Okay, well, he didn't give up. That's one thing about some of these top riders, Sometimes things don't go according to plan, but put it back together again. So some people walk a number in a tight rollback like that to like the skinny, and I've seen, we saw Spooner do 7 strides, and most people did 8 strides, and I think he saw the 8, but the horse just didn't react quickly enough to his leg and just didn't get there.
And that's also going to be tough for those inside turns because, again, there's so much for the horses to look at, other fences. 8 jumping faults. H5, Belou's Captain, and Eduardo Meneses at 58.14 seconds. And the 8 faults, and they will not change our top placings.
And it is still only a 9-year-old, so he probably doesn't have as much experience as some of these other horses in those turns.
That, I think, Eduardo Meneses always brings along all of his horses very, very, very well. Well, you know what? 3 remaining. This rider held the lead for quite a while. She's now in 2nd place. I know she likes to get those blue ribbons. She likes to win. Here's Carrie Potter from Sacramento and Clapton, a 13-year-old gray stallion. Source owned by Morning Star Sport Horses.
So Clapton, his nickname is Eric. In true Carrie Roofer style with a sense of humor.
And a very thick neck on this horse.
Right, as stallions do sometimes get a very thick neck. He's very attractive.
He looks like a statue horse.
Right, a Breyer horse.
The ones you would see carved out of marble and all that stuff. He's the perfect color for that. A little rub on fence number 2. But that's not a problem.
Tidy here, and he got very quick in the corner there, which is a good thing.
She's going to do that inside turn as well.
There's the 7. Well done.
Okay.
I like watching Carrie ride in these tight turns because she kicks first and asks questions later.
So what happened to that combination, A and B down?
Yeah, I think again, when you make these tight turns and rollbacks and things like that, then sometimes you've got a straight line and the horse is anticipating that you may think about turning in the air. So they just cut down a little bit more. And this horse is also, had a lot of success.
Well, with 8 faults, they cross that finish line 55.61 seconds. She was still really fast. but 8 jumping faults. So, well, 55.62. That was the time on her first horse. 55.61 the time on her second
so look
horse.
how consistent her track
So
was.
just 1/100th of a second difference between her first ride and her second ride. And 2 remaining. Here for the USA, Sean Cassidy back in the ring, riding for High Point Farm of Scottsdale, Arizona. Campateo is the 11-year-old chestnut gelding. And there's a Hanoverian. So we're started by Kotoki.
So cantering in on his entrance.
Well, Sean Cassidy right now sits in 5th place aboard his first ride.
So I don't know. I think Richard's going to be hard to beat. I don't know if he can do that. Let's see. There's the 7, but certainly he's going to give it a try because he's competitive. He's definitely wider than Richard here.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so he's trying to give this horse a positive ride and not really expecting that he can try to outrun Mr. Spooner. Richard probably thinks I'm talking about his father at this point.
And again, doing the outside turn there, as you mentioned, you have to do that inside turn coming back.
Right.
If you want a chance at the top 3, possibly top 5 right now. And talking about 5th, Sean Cassidy is sitting in 5th place. And that was aboard at Durango VDL, his first ride.
Right, so sometimes you when you move these horses up, no matter what their age is, sometimes you can feel like you can go for it, and other times you feel like you're really using these horses as building blocks to create better horses down the road.
Well, there's the A, there's the B, there's the 5, and there's the finish line.
Certainly nothing to sneeze at.
No, 64.99 seconds. Campateo and Sean Cassidy, they're going to be just out of our top 12 ruin placings, as that they are the 13th fastest of the clears. But Sean still in 5th place aboard at Durango VDL. Well, just 1 remaining. Richard Spooner leads the field, 55.10 seconds, walking into the ring. Final entry. This horse owned by Wild Turkey Farm of Oregon. W.T. Kapow, a 9-year-old gelding. So a young gelding here. Mandy Porter for the USA. This is her second time of the ring.
Right, and Mandy showed this horse last night, and I thought it was just a fabulous display of horsemanship. Her horse got a little bit green in the triple combination and had a little trouble, so she ended up taking a little walk and deciding what would be the best course of action for him. And she came back and jumped through the combination, and he was still a bit sticky, but she sat still, let him out of stride coming out, did 3 in the 2. Or 2 in the 1, I can't recall.
Did 2 in the 1.
Yeah, but she feels like, he still learned from that, and she feels confident enough to come back tonight. So I do believe that she won't try to win this class, but she's going to try to give him a really nice, positive
solid ride.
Right. And I think, you come back here next year, and this horse may be jumping those Leader 60 World Cup classes.
This horse certainly does have all the jump.
Right, he's got a very big step and a scopy jump. A little green there, but he tries to be careful. And if anyone can give him confidence, it's Mandy, because she always gives him a good ride and a confident feeling.
Right. So far, so good.
And I think that was smart to go around there.
Okay, so
a little bit of a flashback from last night, maybe.
Nicely through that Oxer vertical 1-stride combination. She flowed right down to 8.
Yeah, he's definitely keen. Like, he really looks for the jumps.
Now here we come up to this 2-stride. The same material built that triple combination this horse had a little problem at last night.
Yeah, so she really rode him hard there. Whoa, pony kick. That's what we call a pony kick.
Well, she had to do it. That was a beautiful ride. That was a great return after last night.
Yeah, I think it was super, very smart.
And I think that W.T. Kapow, he's going to be a super horse. Just remember that name down the road. Always remember Mandy Porter's name, because she is such a phenomenal rider. Well, Richard Spooner will take home first place. And that was such a ride aboard Arthosar. Carrie Roofer in second aboard Mai Tai. Was so close between first and second. Look at that in second place. Carly Anthony Clochard in third. Georgina Bloomberg in fourth. Sean Cassidy in fifth. Jennifer Gates in sixth. Those times so close, especially the top three, top four, top five. Mariano Maggi for Sweden in seventh. Carol Wright, Konehito in eighth place. In ninth, the Van SS. 10th place on Enrique Gonzalez, H5 Zap. 11th, Tiffany Sullivan, Christian Gray, and Laura Jane Tidball, and Joyce Van Heike in 12th place. Those are the top 12, $36,500 Murieta in Spa and Restaurant Speed tonight. Susie Ortez, that was fun.
That was fun. And I will see you back here tomorrow night.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow night. And make sure you join us. That'll be on FEI TV tomorrow night. And that will be the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Sacramento. Olaf Peterson Jr., well, he said Carrie Roofer was going to win this. He was one spot off.
Oh, then he owes her a drink.
I think he does. We do have one more class here inside. We're going to find out tomorrow night what Olaf Peterson Jr. has. Well, what he's designed. It's always exciting to find out what's all he designs. He's such a good course designer.
Well, and there's a meter 40 class tomorrow too, isn't there? A Morningstar Sport Horses meter 40
yes.
FEI class, I believe. Yeah.
Yes.
So I may or may not be able to join you for that, but we'll see.
Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, once again on FEI YouTube, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be turning this over to Max, and he'll be taking the presentations in the ring in just a moment.
Good night, my friends.
After the award presentation tonight, of course, we have that team relay. It's only going to take us 10 to 15 minutes to build the course to get set to that team relay. You guys just stick around and, like I said, you're not going to watch a fun event like that. I'm not going to have the mouth with the course of announcers for it. We got to do that class tonight. It's going to be one of the leading shows that we here. We're getting set to the award presentation for tonight's dinner at Ladies Spa and Restaurant. Speed.
Of course, our riders lining up here, always a challenge to bring in those top 12. Of course, the horses just got done running around the arena. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, as those top 12 line up here, let's introduce you to Carol Ward from the Murieta Inn and Spa, representing West Palm Event Management, Alex Svanka, and we congratulate your champion tonight, bringing forth, it's Richard Spooner aboard Arthos R. A fantastic ride, the only one to better out Kerry Roofer, 55.10 the winning time. The 13-year-old Dutch warm blood Arthos R, and your champion Richard Spooner riding for the Thanks God Investment Incorporated. They'll move off to the side to get the commemorative photograph. Once again, let's thank Carol Ward and Murieta Inn and Spa and Restaurant for sponsoring tonight's $36,500 class. Congratulations once again, and you can see why they call him the Master of Faster. Your winner, Richard Spooner and Arthos R. Let's meet the remainder of our top 12 riders. Wonderful efforts here for all of our top 12 tonight clear. Your reserve champion for the Morningstar Sport Horses, it's the American Kerry Roofer in my time. A third place finish for Carly Anthony aboard Clochard for Stefex Stables. Your fourth place award to Georgina Bloomberg aboard Cessna. Your fifth place finisher, Sean Cassidy aboard Durango VDL for the High Point Farm. Congratulations here, your sixth place award winner, Jennifer Gates aboard the Evergate Stables ride, Alex. Your seventh place award winner goes to Mariano Maggi aboard Quintago VA, riding for Uma O'Neill. Your eighth place award winner, Carol Wright, owning and showing Conejito, the Little Rabbit. Your ninth place finisher, Eduardo Meneses from Brazil aboard H5 Jamusen Vendendal. 10th place to Enrique Gonzalez aboard H5 Zap Zerap. 11th was Tiffany Sullivan and Christian Gray, and here joining us for 12th place, Laura Jane Tidball and Joyce Van Heike. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, stick around after our victory gallop here. We're going to be having the $5,000 Pro Junior Amateur Team Relay, a very exciting class that'll be taking place right here in this very arena. But before we get to that, Mr. Richard Spooner, if you would, let's lead him off in the victory ride. Of course, talking to our course designer, Mr. Olaf Peterson, saying, I just beat your course. Richard Spooner, your champion. Let's hear it for Arthos R. Congratulations to all of our top 12 riders in the Murieta Inn and Spa Restaurant Dash for Cash. One more time, your winner, Richard Spooner. Carrie Roofer. Carly Anthony. Georgina Bloomberg. Sean Cassidy. Jennifer Gates. Mariano Maggi. Carol Wright. Eduardo Meneses. Enrique Gonzalez. And Laura Jane Tidball, but once again, your champion, Richard Spooner and Arthosa. Whew. Boy, that victory gallop was almost as exciting as the class itself. Ladies and gentlemen, stick around. Once again, we've got still more wonderful, wonderful show jumping coming your way. And hang out here. Come check out the wonderful vendors on the north side of the arena. Once again, the tack warehouse down below us here, riding warehouse. You can come check their wares out as well. We're going to have just a few minutes of a break here as we'll reset the course for tonight's Pro-Am Team Relay.